Finally, I'd like to show you a slightly more advanced technique I like to call crazy catching floats. It's great for projects where you have lots of stripes and you have to cut the yarn often because it will weave in all of your ends at once. The great thing about this is that you're all done when you've woven in both ends. There's no waste. The trouble with it is that sometimes it can be a little bit bulky, requires a little bit of dexterity, and is not great for heavier yarns. So the yarn I have here today is our Yet, which is a very lofty yarn. So I'm going to show you how to do this technique. So now I have the old yarn in my left hand, and I'll be adding the new yarn with my right hand. So I'm going to have the new yarn folded over in my right hand. We're going to begin by knitting the first stitch with the loop of the folded over yarn. So there's our loop. So we're going to knit this yarn, the new yarn, doubled until we run out of tail. And then at the same time, we're going to weave the old yarn under and over as we go. So we're going to knit under and over, under and over, under, over. So we've knit about 8 stitches with our new yarn. I'm going to leave that tail on the back hanging. I'm going to continue knitting with the new yarn and weaving a couple more stitches with my old yarn just so that the two tails aren't in the same place on the back. That's probably good enough. And finish the row. Then when we turn around and look at the back, we can go ahead and trim the old yarn. I like to leave a little tail just for when I block it. And then the new yarn tail is also sitting there, and you can see where I've done this previously on the other stripes. I just wanted to show you another project I'm working on, which is a shawl called Fox Paws. And it's a project where I had to cut the yarn on every single color change. The great thing about using this technique is that all my ends are woven in already. You can see the edges are nice and tidy, and if I flip it over, you can see that all my ends are woven in on the back. They're ready for me to block and trim them when I'm all done, but I really like this technique because it saves me a lot of time at the end. I really hope these tips were useful to you as a reference to figure out other ways to join yarns while you're knitting. You may use some or all of them, and hopefully you'll find your favorite.